Welcome to the second town hall, CLA Town Hall for the spring semester. Maria Fracasso, the CLA chair, and will be moderating the town hall. Today, what we're going to do is simply have a period of time where the dean will provide us with some updates, and then we're going to open it up to questions. It will be a question town hall. So with that, Dean Chulos.
So is this on? We have people coming in by. We have 8 people. All right, great. Let's see how this thing works. We'll do it like this. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. The ones in the room, I can see the Zoom people I can't see, but nice to have you here at the College Council's Town Hall. So I know everyone is looking forward to spring break. I have a couple of things to tell you that I want to spend most of the time taking your questions. So I should tell you that our searches are doing really well. We are now seeing sort of the end of the search interview cycle. The dean's office gets to meet all of the finalists, and Karen and I are really impressed with who our searches have brought in to see us. So far, we have, I believe, it's a very active moment. I think we have 5 accepted and a few more in either process or in negotiation. And I'm very pleased to tell you that all 5 so far, are diversity hires. So our hope, right, as a college to diversify the faculty is moving forward. I think that's thanks to your good efforts, thanks to some difference in how we advertise the positions, and we'll learn from this cycle and try to tweak it and improve it for next time. So that's related to, so good work on everyone's part. Now the next job is to welcome our new faculty. As I talked with, I told Provost Cooper yesterday in our meeting, we have to figure out ways to support all faculty, but especially diverse faculty, current and new ones coming to the university. So that's a university college department effort. It is not the responsibility of any one area, but all of those areas that have work to do, and that agree on that. But thank you for what you've done to bring these fine candidates to us. This is related to something that deans were invited to appear before today. So there is a presidential inclusion and diversity training for what I believe, that's how I saw looking around the room, is more or less mid-career administrators at the university. And so it's not the first time we've been invited to go in front of them and to speak. And they, gave us a set list of questions. I really only asked the first one. And then the people who were participating in this year-long process asked questions. Because it was on diversity and inclusion, a couple of questions that I think were worth relating here. One of them from an administrator was, how can we address the divide between faculty and administration? Okay, so there were only 3 deans. I was there, Sid Kaza was there, so he's not a dean of a college, and then Dean Yawkey. So she's not a dean of a college. I was the only dean of a college. We all have similar but different experiences, but we asked them a little bit more from the person who posed the question. And each of us responded differently. But I do think that in our college and all of those, like the library and Sid's area and the other colleges, we are always trying to do more to be inclusive. I know we are in this college. I mentioned our inclusive meeting protocols that we have distributed to the chairs. We've also distributed to all of the committees and the council. We've asked them, meaning not me, but was it you, Maria, or was it the Diversity and Inclusion Committee? Maybe Sandra there. Asked each of those committees this semester to look at the guidelines that were sent, so created by the diversity and inclusion, and then modify them or adapt them to their meeting practice. But we've asked the chairs to do the same. So we're hoping all of the committee meetings in the college will adapt these practices. If you haven't heard about this yet, ask whoever sits on the diversity and inclusion committee in your department and ask your chair. You should have heard about that by now. Each of the committees, of course, I sit as ex officio on each of them. They've all raised this in the most recent meetings. And so I think that's one way to be inclusive. But I also said, we also want to have an inclusive culture, not just for faculty, but people who are staff but not faculty in the college. So we invite people to all college events. Messaging, at least from my office, often goes out to everyone in the college, not students, right? I'm not talking about students. Those are good things. But if you have attended any of our many events this semester, many of them happen 5:30, or a little bit later. And if you go to them, like I go to as many as I can make it, I don't usually see anyone who's a staff. So I started talking to faculty and some of the chairs about that. And someone came up with a really good suggestion of how we could make those post-work, for them it's post-work events more appealing. But I need ideas. We all need more ideas of how to have everyone feel like they belong here. They have something important to say. So I know that some of the committees that I work with talked about, well, let's have more at lunchtime. Well, the problem is most of you are teaching. So that's not a good time either. There's no right moment. But another idea is maybe we alter as much as we can, have some at this time, some at that time, see what we can do. But in any case, they were very interested in this divide between faculty and administration. So we were eager to hear from them as much as they were eager to hear from us. As busy as you are with searches, you know that many of your programs have program review going on right now. And today, Karen and I met the first external reviewer, and that's just going to wrap up over the next few weeks. This is a great opportunity, but it's also required, but it's a great opportunity for everyone in your program to have a frank discussion, not only between yourselves, but with an external reviewer. They all, their visits all look a little bit differently. Today's told us she was going, we were the first meeting, I wait for her today. Usually we're toward the end of the meeting, have time on campus. But she said she was going to meet with each faculty member individually. If that's possible, if that happens in your external review, that's a great opportunity for the external reviewer to learn about you as a faculty member in that greater context of the department and college and university. But then for you maybe to ask questions and even maybe throw some ideas out and see how they react to it. This is a good opportunity for us. Maybe that happens over a meal as well. It doesn't have to be in a one-to-one. But this is a lot of hard work that you're doing, and we appreciate it. And these are important for what we do in the college. This morning at Provost Council, Boyd Bradshaw gave us a verbal, he didn't give us written report, but he gave us a verbal report of where things stand for fall admissions. And they're looking strong. Now, May 1st is the admissions deadline date for most of our students who want to come to Towson. So we really need to wait till May 1st. We have always at this point, universities will have many more admits than they'll have signed contracts. People who say they'll come to the university, but it's looking good. What are a couple of things to keep in mind? The first year class again will be very large. That's the expectation. Okay, so this would, once we get solid numbers, that might mean looking at classes for first year students and making sure we have enough classes and so forth. More information from its office. That's as far as he got today. Maybe a few fewer upper level classes. That's what he was thinking. Graduate admissions and contracts both are up. So that, and more so among graduates with contracts than undergraduates. Undergraduates usually wait till the first, so it's a little bit earlier for that. As you can imagine, transfer numbers are not up; they're down. But it's not clear yet does that mean only down applications and acceptance, or is it down also in contracts? You know, could turn out we have a bump with contracts, even though all the other numbers are lower. Something else Boyd pointed out was that community colleges are seeing more of a rebound in their enrollments, especially in first year. So that can help us the transfer population as well. So all of this is really, I think, encouraging news, but it's a little bit early, as Boyd pointed out. He's doing many different things. I know some of you are involved in those initiatives, and so I appreciate that, and we do have payoff clearly. Okay, just a few more things, and I'll stop and take your questions. This is a season of good news. So send me your good news when you get it. I get it in a variety of forms, sometimes from the grant agency directly, sometimes from the provost, president, your chair. You can send it to me too. I would like to have that good news. I just want to mention a few recent bits of good news. These are really important. So Pascalupo from the Department of Psychology was recently awarded or given a Regents Award for the area of research. So you might have seen that in TU today. And if you didn't, you can look at the article on TU today. Grub Street, which is in the Department of English, it's the student literary magazine, has won a Gold Crown Award from the Scholastic Press. Is that right? Scholastic Press? Scholastic Association, sorry. And this is the third year in a row they've won it. They've won national awards from this organization for I think about 20 years. And then the student awards have not been announced. We usually do very well on that too. So if you aren't familiar with Grub Street, if you haven't looked at it for a while, this year's is not ready yet, right? But you can look at previous years. We have those available around the building. And then when the new one comes out, I encourage you to take a look. There's also a link, right? With some material online, I think. Yes, so you can look at the webpage and find that link. If we move on to some student-only awards, this year we have 3 CLA students who are finalists for a Fulbright Award. That's really great. We won't know for a little while what the result is, but again, CLA performs very well with these awards. I met with Mary Devadas, who is the university's director for student awards and fellowships. Met with her last week. CLA is a big interest for her because our students take so many of the prizes. So she's going to come and talk to the chairs. You know, you may want to invite her to your department to talk. It's an office that is relatively new and expanding, not fast, but it's expanding. So this is good for us. It's good for our undergraduate students, and it's good for the university as well. And really, it allows these students to move into different areas and different levels than they would have been able to otherwise. So more awards as they happen, but we know there'll be many more. We mentioned earlier the list of the many events in our college. Go to our events page, take a look at all of the events that are listed. There are many. There are a lot of sabbatical talks this time of year. There are some special annual lectures. Democracy Today Committee is organizing a college-wide conversation about a book, George Packer's book on democracy. And so the first meeting was on the 28th. It was really well attended by several classes. They were all family studies classes, maybe a few other people. So encourage your students to attend. The next one is on the 28th of March, and then April 20th, the author is going to be here. So we're hosting the author, and he's going to come and talk to us. And so what we're doing is soliciting fundings from students at those monthly reading events, so we can put them together and ask the author to respond to them. And that's it. I don't think I'll go on. I'd like to instead take your questions. So are there any questions? People in the room? Any updates you want to provide? You know, the presidential search is going on. If you haven't had an opportunity to go to the town halls that were organized, there is a link online. You can anonymously submit your questions or your areas that you think would be important for a new president to address, or things that the committee should be thinking about as they're reviewing candidates. So encourage you to go to that website and submit what you have. Questions first in person? About online. They're not in person for those coming in online. So there are no questions. We can go early. No. Nothing on anyone's mind? Has anyone been able? Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say my mind, it's
Sure.
not a question
Yeah.
about that. I am excited about a symposium that we were doing at Towson University on diversity, dignity, and democracy. That my name is Hannah Hoare. I'm from Family Studies and Community Development, and I'm excited about it to share with you that we had a symposium here on diversity, dignity, and democracy. That's something that we were working on for a long time. I was working on for a while. It's a group of students. It's a collaboration between College of Education, Liberal Arts, and a library of Towson with Israel, with an Israeli college. And now we are going to continue the collaboration and working together. So the second step will be a conference that will be held in Israel, in Tel Aviv, at the Kibbutzim College. And the first part of the project ended up with the book, Democracy, Dignity, and Diversity. And the second part will be the continuation and maybe a second step. So I want to invite faculty that is interesting to join us. And yeah, so we're going to have a conference in Israel joint between Towson and Tel Aviv. They're going to host us. I'm going to be in Tel Aviv next week, and I'm going to talk at their conference next week. I have 150 people coming, teachers coming to listen to what we have to say. And along with the principal from a public school, retired principal, so we're going to talk about a lot of opportunities for collaboration, and hopefully we'll have a couple classes, at least one class as a joint class. So I'm excited about this future, and I hope that from the college we can think about more collaborations that are international, and hopefully we'll start it soon.
So I know some of you who are here went to that. It was a day long, I think in February, right? Beginning of
Yeah.
February. A lot of students also attended, which was nice. Other faculty, some administrators. Tricia Bradley was there quite a bit of the day, maybe the whole day. She was really by the topic. It was the experts were, all specializing in different areas, but really interesting the way they presented their materials. Some of the experts were our own faculty too, which was nice to see. That was thanks in large part to Anna's organization skills, which are really quite phenomenal. And the idea is that we move forward, right? We want to move forward with the next phase of this. Similar to what Dean said this morning to that group I mentioned earlier, is these are processes that are never complete, right? We're constantly moving, trying to understand in new ways, different ways, topics of diversity, exclusion, bigotry, and so forth, and see how we can, maybe address them to figure out new strategies, different strategies, and the strategy should be changing all the time based on, the current needs. So it was a really exciting day. It's nice food and entertainment there too.
Yes, thank you for attending here, and thank you, Teresa. She made sure of it.
That's right.
You're welcome.
That's right. So what are the hot topics? I start my meetings with the deans, the chairs asking, what are their hot topics? So what are your hot topics? Do you have anything? It could be anything. Did anyone, did anything come in?
Nope.
There are no hot topics, everyone's ready to go to spring break. Yes, Aaron from English.
Erin Feskins from English. So this came up in my faculty meeting last Friday where we got an update earlier in the year from the CLA Council about a request that's coming to authenticate or demonstrate participation in a conference. So once we return from the conference, part of the reimbursement process will be also some sort of validation that we participated in the way that we proposed we would participate. And we heard that things were moving forward with that and there were going to be lots of different kinds of documentation accepted. But people are, traveling for conferences a lot in the spring. And so they were sort of wondering what the timeline was for this, something that's going to happen this year or next year, and when we were going to get more of an update about it.
That's a great question. I'll let Maria answer most of it, but it won't happen until December. So I mean, we can't expect to change gears in the middle of the year. That wouldn't be fair. We're not ready yet either, is the other answer, but Maria can tell you.
So, thank you. So, what the council has been doing is been working on a faculty travel policy. It's gone into a subcommittee that's looked into perhaps getting that together. We have now a document that we will be reviewing and will be approving, certainly in the council, hopefully next month, but we're still kind of figuring that out. Once that has been approved by the council, I think we're going to, I'm not sure of the procedure from this point, but I'm assuming the procedure will be deans will approve it, and then it'll go to my hope is it will go to all the departments. So your CLA council rep should be taking it to your department so that you can as well take a look at it.
And the idea is we're assuming
Right.
it came from the different departments, that's right.
Right. It came in from the council reps. So the hope is what they've come in with, will, when it goes out, people will be certainly familiar with it and. Then we'll take a look at it. They've known about it.
You asked about like what you would have to show. First of all, we don't want to create extra work, but so there's gonna be a variety of things you can show and you get to pick and choose. It's not a small list. But we're not saying, I don't think we're asking suggestions to add this, right? It's pretty comprehensive. So I don't anticipate that taking time. That's not unusual to ask for some kind of verification when you get funding. So.
But Aaron, we've taken comments from faculty and at the council, and we're taking those into consideration. They were taken into consideration in coming up with a document.
So again, this morning in that session that I mentioned, the year-long training for mid-level administrators for diversity and inclusion, one of those administrators, no, not one of the administrators, one of the other panelists said that in their unit, committee reviews all travel, and makes decisions, but it's once a semester. I know that there are other colleges that do that. I don't recommend it. I wouldn't agree to that. I think we have to be much more responsive. So we're trying to do things our own way, but we need a little bit of responsibility and accountability. And so let's say you have an abstract. I can't remember all the things on the list, and you provide the abstract. And in the past, right now, for your approval, you're supposed to be showing the approval that your paper was accepted. So I see those regularly. But as we know, the way the process goes, I don't see anything typically through Stratus, at least. I don't see anything till I reimburse. We put up a new form on the CLA website, which is going to be updated by the end of spring break and updated because we found a few inconsistencies, not in a major way. That's how I'll be able to see in advance, what kind of commitments I need to make. That was all done through Tiger Travel, but Stratus has changed things. So I don't really, each dean has decided to do things differently to be able to get knowledge before the travel actually takes place.
That was the context that this came
Yeah.
up in, and we were talking about that before, and I was like,
Yeah.
they need to start filling this out, moving forward. And so that we kind of came back to that. I think the question was more, when will this also take effect?
The form that's currently online is in effect, the new form will just clarify a few things. Some of them won't really be noticeable to the person filling it out. It's more clarity for the back office. Others, chairs, you probably are one of them, I can't remember, noticed there were a few things that it led to confusion. So, part of what I've been doing in council and committees is looking at documents that exist and trying to make certain things clearer because they haven't been. So the council also reviewed the bylaws and constitution. I don't know where we are. I can't remember on that. What is the next step on that?
We're reviewing it next month.
Next month, okay. And was there a lot? I would say for me, it didn't look like a lot of changes, but some, and we don't need a lot of changes for them.
One question from online from Paul Monroe. Nadine will describe spending audits and how our evidence of participation when traveling help with these.
Wait, say that again. I didn't quite hear. I didn't quite-
Describe spending audits and how our evidence of participation when traveling help with these spending audits.
I'm not sure I understand what spending audits means here. I mean, I can tell you that we are audited for travel as a university, and we could be as a college. So far, we haven't, but the deans were all informed last fall that the first college audit on campus, a very long time, happened last year, and so a year-long process. But not our college, and it's very involved. They look at it. So they would look at the approval process, how we not only track funds, but approve. We have documentation, like we get now that your paper was approved. We have documentation that you actually went and gave the paper, things like that. So yeah, if that's what he means, it's going to help us with that kind of. Is that what you meant, Paul?
He has responded with them thinking yes. And he said yes.
Okay. Thanks. I mean, if anyone has more questions, just email me by. If you've been in the office lately, you know that I mostly work with the door open. So some of you who have taken advantage of that and come in, it's been nice. Just feel free to do that when I'm in the meeting. I know they're closed.
No, I was just gonna add.
Okay.
One thing that I wanted to just bring to the town hall was that we have an anonymous link on CLA Council for individuals to send questions to certainly the council, if they have questions for us, but also if they have questions that they would perhaps like to have for the town halls. But one question or several questions this month were on the question about purpose of the town halls. So I'm gonna say that initially the council was not in charge of the town halls. It was a purview of the dean. Last year, the academic senate requested that the town halls be convened by the council without any guidance. It was just, it moved from the dean's office to the CLA council. And so I guess my question to the person who asked the question is, what would they like to see in terms of purpose? What would they want to see that maybe is happening or that is not happening? What would they want to see different? How would they like it to be run? I mean, right now it's being run pretty standard operating with dean's comments, who is of course the leader of the college, and then we open it up to questions. The other question is, how many town halls do we want per semester or per year? So I'm asking certainly the in-person audience, but also the Zoom audience and anybody else that you want to include in that to provide us guidance, that us meaning the council with guidance. We are, kind of we're flying blind at this point. I mean, we're doing it the way it's been done in the past, which I think has worked well. But I'd like to make sure that our constituents, meaning faculty, staff, students, whoever's invited, be okay with how we're running. Because I think many of the questions that we received this town hall was, what's the purpose? Why are we having this? I mean, I know what the purpose of a town hall is, and I think some people do, but maybe I'm missing the point.
I should
Missing
just
the
point out students. This is
Okay. Faculty, staff. Anything from the audience, either here or on Zoom?
We can email you.
They can email.
Or
but
submit
of
to
course,
them.
we're also talking about maybe 10 and maybe 20 people. So if you wouldn't mind, chairs going to your faculty, faculty going to your colleagues, staff going to other staff members, and providing us, the council, with some feedback on what seems to be working, because I'd like to see that too, but also what's not working, or what you would like to see in a town hall. I know we're in the spring semester and we're almost
For
done
next
next year.
Well, Halcyon made a presentation maybe the last time. I mean, I heard from people, I can't remember if it's in the college or other colleges. You could ask for reports from each of the committee. 3 to 5 minute reports. That's what some people do, I think, at other colleges, but every college is very. That's or you could rotate them. This report.
I'd like to hear from
Yeah.
the faculty and the staff, kind of what their thoughts are, because it's for you. And if we're not doing it the way you would like to see it being done, I think the council would really appreciate to know what works.
In addition to the anonymous link, the CLA Council does have an email address,
Oh, right. I think.
CLAcouncil@towson.edu.
Yeah, so you don't need to send it to Picasso@towson.edu. Just send it to, or you could send it to M Picasso. But if you send it to CLA Council, it will assure that I get it, that we get it. Any thoughts now, or? Lovely. Of course.
I don't know if that's the place, I mean, it's not a new question to discuss, but I would like to know maybe as we're dealing with numbers and students and particularly graduate students coming here, and maybe moving to some courses online, some programs online or hybrid. And one of the issues that I raised in the past, and I know other people were concerned with it, is the tuition for online courses. And so maybe I would like, if like I know maybe only in the graduate school working on it, but I would like to hear maybe if there is any change in that, or they pushing it forward, you done with it. Especially as I'm thinking more of joint courses and collaboration. Tuition is it's a big obstacle, I think, because right now, pay out of state tuition. So I don't know, if this is the forum to ask it, but if you.
Just, I think it is the farm.
So we do that.
I don't know if you've heard anything, Karen, or anyone else. I have talked about this with David Omby and Sid Kaza. I mean, you're right. It's front and center in their minds, and it is probably going to be a while, because imagine what that means. It means, so for them to make the argument in a fiscally sound way, they have to say, if we reduce the tuition by this percentage, or make it in-state for online rather than out of state, we have to guarantee this many more students to break even. That's the situation. And they have the argument. Now, the next thing that has to happen is that budget folks at the university have to understand it. All that I know from Sid recently is He said progress has been made, but that's all he was willing to tell me.
Well, the other way of looking at it is either not having anyone, which is
Yeah.
pretty much the situation now, and look at like, if we gain few classes with special online aid, then we have more students and, I don't.
So where the movement seems to be likely, he told me, is in the area of certain fees that students have to pay, mandatory fees that really don't make sense if you're not on campus. I mean, we know that a lot of students who are on campus, they pay those fees and it doesn't mean anything because they're not using those facilities. Well, you're still on campus. If you're not on campus and you're from far away, there's no way you can ever use any of those. That's a completely different matter. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't have an update, but at least Sid was more hopeful about first getting the fees, structure change, which would reduce the cost, and then addressing the in-state, out-of-state for online.
The other thing we could talk about, and you might go offline, is the CLA program, which might give us the strategy.
TLN is great if we can, consider, but also international, because
So that's a broader
the
conversation.
international is.
In the conversations I've had, and so there have been those distinctions, national, international. I have no idea. And so, we're in a fiscally tighter year. I don't know what next year will be like. It's hard to make these arguments in a year like this, but the arguments started before this year. I'm going to go on beyond. So hopefully there'll be a resolution, at least some of it. I would be happy if we could take all these things at one time, but even a step like revising the required fees could be helpful. And then if we could show some impact on enrollment, that gives us a stronger case. When I say I was thinking college, I mean across the campus, because these are not college specific.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean on the academics. It's a great point. What else is on your mind that you're willing to share in front of the group? Any updates, any awards in your departments that you want to talk about? Okay, so we have Mary and then Teresa.
Good name, American Youth Sociology Anthropology Justice, and Robert Bob Wall won Mid-Atlantic Archaeology Lifetime Achievement Award over the weekends for conference in Ocean City.
Congratulations. Can you send it to me so I can? Yeah, I want to, you know what I also do? I like to send this along to communication. Tell your chair, tell the dean's office we want to promote it. So I'm really pushing the Office of Communications at the university level to feature us. And I think we've done well this semester. Karen and I met with them. I think it was in January. We need to change sort of the narrative. Narrative was almost non-existent. And so we came up with a strategy and talked with them, and they're very open. We do need to communicate with them. They don't get all this news just like you didn't get it. How would they, unless they just stumbled across it? Okay, Teresa?
So Paul Monroe comments that fees for online students might help assure the maintenance and upgrade of virtual workspace. For example, SPSS that is working quite well these days. And before you comment, I will say that SPSS is working quite well these days because OTS has been upgrading and they're moving to a platform called Azure. And there are certain departments and classes that are in that pilot program. A lot of them carry departments because they do the research methodology courses. So yes, that is happening, but whether fees kind of go along with that, you choose.
Thank you, Paul. I'm not sure if I understand you to say that there's some use for these fees. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, but I also agree that we could really look at the cost of people who are not here on campus. Yes, we do. I'm not saying that fees should be, maybe there's a difference for different structure, costs and things like that. I don't know how much anyone looks at our tuition fees, but I encourage you, if you haven't done that for a while or never done it, take a look at it. what you'll find is that our tuition is one thing, the fees are really heavy. I'm not criticizing, this is very typical, right, across the country. So when we talk about fees, we're not talking about $25 here. We're talking about annual fee for undergraduate students. Those extra fees come to about $3,900. That's not insignificant, right? We need that. We absolutely need. We need them, differently. My students. And I know I've heard from students, I've heard from parents who say, but my kid never uses this. It's not about that. It's about the community coming together and providing a campus experience that is available to everybody. And we know everyone is not making use of everything. But the only way to make that is through these fees. So I'm not saying we don't need fees. If anyone thinks that and goes out and spreads that, it won't be right. I'm saying we need to look at these, especially for online. What else is on your mind? We can end early. It's almost spring break.
Right,
I hope everyone gets a chance to take a break. Everyone deserves it. I know it's not a break, right, for most faculty, but maybe it's a change of pace. That's important too. That helps you restore the fresh a bit to make it the rest end of the semester. All right, thank you. It's good to see everybody.
I'd like to just remind everyone, I know you're like, we just finished this one. But just remind you that there is another town hall in April on the 14th. It's Friday at 9 a.m. And also just to remind people that please email me with suggestions, comments, concerns about the format of the town hall so that I can bring that to the next council meeting.
Do you want to mention Provost, acting Provost Cooper's?
Oh, right, that's gonna be May, that's May 8th. May 8th. And it's on the CLA Council, College Council website page.
With breakfast.
With breakfast. Thank you.